What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Kevin Hart, Don't Fuck This Up, is a show on Netflix, a limited series, documentary series, 6 episodes following Kevin Hart, featuring Kevin Hart. Now, when I think of Kevin Hart, I'm not a big fan of his comedy. I've watched a few of his specials. I'd go back and watch his specials. Maybe I'll relate to them more the second time around or whatever. But not necessarily a big fan of his comedy, which is fine. Mostly it's his voice. He has it's an annoying voice, very whiny, and so if I can get past that, then maybe I'll enjoy the content more. But I do think of him as very inspirational, motivational. He seems like he works with The Rock a lot, but they seem to have a very similar kind of outlook and kind of very motivational, very trying to be kind of help people live their best lives, be a good role model, as it were. I mean, Kevin Hart's the first comedian to ever get sponsored by Nike. And he has his sneaker is like very motivational. Everything's motivation with him, which I love that. I love that. I relate to that a lot. So despite the fact that I'm not a big fan of his comedy, I am a big fan of his. However, watching this documentary, I never realized how scandalous he is. Like, I remember the tweets that he put out that got him canceled from doing the Oscars. But this documentary series shows they kind of start there, and he's like, no, let's not start there. Let's start at the beginning, because there's a bunch leading up to the Oscar scandal where he didn't want to apologize. He had already been through so many scandals, cheating on his wife multiple times. Like, he married, his second marriage was somebody he was cheating on his first wife with. Although, he says the relationship was done anyway, which is, I get that. But he also cheated on her twice, his new wife. And just kind of went off the rails a bit. He has a big entourage that tends to keep him in line, but it just was not, because he puts on the big inspirational thing. It's very two-sided, I would say, which kind of makes sense if you're behind the scenes. If you're not kept in check, you will kind of fuck people over. Not like monetarily, but just emotionally, you'll fuck them over, whether it's a friend or your spouse. But and he's very much watching this kind of gave me a little. I mean, it's definitely more of a nuanced view. I think this documentary series, I don't think it necessarily paints him as in a good light, which is kind of interesting that it would come out. I believe it's his production company also that put it out. But it's a very honest look at who he is. And despite all of his positivity and his motivation, he is, not necessarily a good person. I mean, he's not like Cosby level bad, as far as we know. He's never been accused of rape or anything like that. He's not he's not sexually assaulting anybody. He's just, he's really like a bro dude, like a bros before hoes kind of guy. Which I'm not a big fan of those types of guys. I was raised by a single mom. I've no siblings. Never really wasn't a jock or anything like that. I'm a sensitive guy. And those guys were always, I've had friends that are bro dudes. But when it comes, and I know a lot of bro dudes, people think I'm a bro dude. But I'm not like that bros before hoes kind. I have a lot of friends that are chicks that, I would gladly knock you out for if it's just, it's that aspect of them I don't relate to. But it's an interesting series. It's just an interesting series following him up through. You see just how large of an industry he is and how many people are behind him. I mean, he's basically a business. and it's a lot. He's trying to build like an empire, but also he has. I mean, his behavior is very self-destructive. You know, not not in the worst way. I mean, it's like all stuff that he's been able to come back for. And I think that's because it's just it's not there's like a level where, like, the sexual misconduct kind of stuff, like he's not at the level of like Louis. He never jerked off in front of other comics or asked if he could. It's never been like that. It's just been, just unfaithful to his wife, and kind of an asshole to his friends, and kind of, just self-destructive in that way. So it's interesting. I was surprised how honest and just how, in my opinion, some people have watched this and they're just really motivated by him, which I get, but and they probably relate differently to bro dudes than I do. But yeah, he's kind of a super motivational bro dude. He's like a bro dude that grew up but still has a lot of bro dude tendencies, because he's around his plastic cup crew, and he's paying all of his friends to hang around him. Like, one of them's his personal trainer, the other one's like his he writes with him. There's another one that's, it's kind of like Entourage, the show, but it's Kevin Hart and a bunch of his friends. And when you're like, there's got to be huge issues with friendship if your friends are employees, right? I mean, a lot of there's a scene in this where he's on like a flight with his crew, and he's talking to his personal trainer friend, and he's like, Kevin Hart's trying to like make a point that, like, without if Kevin Hart Industries shut down, like, that he would be fucked, and the other dude's like he's not as attached to money, clearly. So it's like, I've been poor, I'll be poor again, and I've got these other businesses that I'm doing aside from what I'm doing with you, that I could just put my time and effort into that. So it's like he's being realistic with it, where Kevin Hart's kind of on this manic kind of tailspin where I would imagine that happens a lot when you're somebody who's a business. Like, if I were to get to a place where I was making millions of dollars a year, I would probably start hiring friends of mine too. And that could be difficult. I definitely wouldn't be as many as him. I'm not used to hanging out with that many people. I don't really hang out with anybody in general. So there's a lot of aspects of Kevin Hart that I don't relate to. But I do appreciate that, he's constantly trying to make steps to be a better person, and he's putting out publicly in a big way, trying to influence other people to be better people. So on that level, and I respect it a lot. But and it goes into his background and kind of why he is the way he is, because of his relationship with his parents, and his father, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just very interesting, very surprising. I enjoyed it a lot. So if you're looking for something good to watch on Netflix, go watch Kevin Hart. Don't fuck this up, and you won't be disappointed. It's especially if you're just at all interested in Kevin Hart. It's just a very, very good. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. New episodes of the Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out.